So I said, "That's not a polar bear. That's my wife." Oh, hey there, listener. Didn't hear you come in.
Oh,
Welcome.
Take off your shoes, hang your hat.
Yeah, settle down. We're doing some comedy today.
Wow. You know, us in comedy, just the best of friends, always having a laugh, us in comedy. Real buds.
Yep. And with that great joke, we're moving on to not comedy.
Yeah, we're moving on to some serious stuff.
We're doing a Gravity Falls fanfic.
Gravity Falls, good old Grunkle Stan.
Yeah, Grunkle Stan. Usually you'd expect some comedy, but it's more of a dramedy. For which, I mean, it's like a drama.
It's like a drama. What's up with that? We're taking a serious side here. Listen, we had our fun. That's why we did the joke at the start. Because now we're getting serious. Comedy is gone. We killed it.
Yeah, comedy is serious work. That's why we had to kill it. And instead read a drama called Specters and Swindlers.
Yeah, by Death Raven 92.
But the E's are threes.
Death Raven 92 Leet Speak. Whose profile picture is a Growlithe and then a Growlithe person furry person.
Yep.
Incredible.
Growlithe.
I like to think that it's an AU James.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful soul. Anyway, I don't know if there's any further ado to be had since we already killed jokes like that.
Probably not. So I guess, let's get into Specters and Swindlers by Deathraven 92. They met in prison. Thankfully, it wasn't a maximum security or intense correctional prison. And Stanley Philman Pines wasn't arrested for anything more severe than pickpocketing and fraud. So, Stan spent most of his time in 1976 fighting off fellow inmates, staring at his cell bars, and talking with his roommate. Said roommate was strange, in Stan's honest opinion. Shaggy black hair, blue eyes, and skinny frame. At first, Stan thought his fellow inmate would be a complete pushover. But surprisingly, there were muscles underneath that wiry frame, and spades of determination that went hand in hand with overwhelming cheerfulness and kindness. The young man looked barely 18 and was a nice guy, despite being in a correctional facility. How he wound up in a prison facility, Stan had no idea. The guy was amazingly tight-lipped about the whole thing, and he seemed to truly enjoy prison life. Or rather, Stan's experience of prison life. Hey, Stan. Shaggy, pitch-black hair and piercing eyes peered down over the edge of the bunk, eyes curling in amusement, and Stan scowled back at his roommate. Cafeteria serving stew, surprise. Want to find out what the mystery meat is?
No,
Stan said shortly. More of a tan face and dimpled smile appeared over the edge of the bunk, and his roommate grinned. Come on. You only have 3 days left in this place anyway. Why not have a little fun before you go? His roommate wheedled.
Why are you here?
Stan demanded, sitting upright and the face reared back, the smile disappearing completely.
Was it theft? Assault? Vandalism? Decided to bring back underground donkey fights?
Blue eyes widened. Those existed? Stan coughed and slouched a little.
Just an example, kid.
The kid pouted. Come on, man. I'm in prison. Definitely not a kid.
Yeah.
Stan sighed dismissively. He leaned back against his hard pillow.
I'm being serious, kid.
The playfulness vanished from the tanned face, and in an amazing feat of ability, the teen flipped off the top bunk and settled down next to Stan. He was silent for a moment, and to Stan it seemed unnerving to see the kid so serious and suddenly much older. Because I have nowhere else to go, he sighed, and Stan swallowed. Memories of a dark street, a duffel bag, a door slamming shut, and a glimpse of a guilty yet angry face in the upstairs window flashed through Stan's mind, and Stan exhaled loudly.
Yeah,
he muttered. He scratched the stubble on his chin and slung a sympathetic arm across the teen's shoulder.
I understand the feeling.
They sat in silence for a long moment, before Stan cleared his throat.
Listen, kid,
he said awkwardly.
If you're not here for something too terrible, maybe I can, bail you out once I scrounge up the money. 'Cause you're too nice to be stuck in here.
The teen was silent for a long moment before he burst out laughing. Immediately, Stan reared up, offended.
I was just trying to be nice, kid, but if you're gonna be like that, then...
No, I'm not laughing at you. The teen chuckled, flashing a grin at his companion. I'm not here because I have to be here. Stan stared at him.
What?
The teen fiddled with his thumbs and tilted his head, his back hair flopping with emotion. When I said I have nowhere to go, I literally mean I don't have anywhere to go. I mostly just picked this place because it seemed interesting. Because you seemed interesting. Stan spluttered, completely flabbergasted.
Interesting. Picked this.
He cut himself off, before he sprang to his feet and roared.
Look, this isn't some kind of vacation home. I mean, what?
The teen laughed again at Stan's reaction, and said cheerily, I've never been arrested. Wait, no, scratch that. He paused and scrunched up his face in thought. Wait, does that time with the guys in white count? He muttered, half under his breath, half not. Well, either way, I was mostly just screwing around right now. And suddenly, well, he amended with a laugh, I met you. You're really entertaining, you know? Stan gawked at his roommate.
I'm what?
The teen laughed again and drummed his fingers against the metal bed frame. You're in here because you swindled people. You have like 5 fake aliases. I watched you talk a guy into giving you the rest of his toothpaste and convince him that it was healthier for him. You're one of the most interesting guys I've met in the past 50 years. That threw Stan for a loop.
What?
The dark-haired, blue-eyed teen simply grinned at him, stood, and to Stan's utmost shock, began to float off the ground. Danny Fenton, or Danny Phantom, the teen said. Stan watched, astounded, as a white ring appeared around his middle and spread across his body. Orange prison slacks turned into a sleek black suit with DP emblazoned across the front in bold white letters. Blue eyes turned into glowing green, and dark, shaggy hair turned into snowy, fluffy white. Dimension Hopper and Half Ghost, at your service.
Yo, Danny
Phantom,
just 14. His parents built a very strange machine. The ultimate crossover.
It's a crossover, surprise!
It's a crossover, baby. Nobody saw it coming. You thought jokes were dead. They were hidden.
Yes.
Not all that much of a joke, though. It still is quite the drama. Oh boy. What a fic.
Yeah. You read a bit more than I have. Is this just gay, or is it just gay adjacent?
I'll tell you, it's just gay adjacent in the first 3 chapters.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like people watch Gravity Falls and they're like, man, it would be awesome if Grunkle Stan was my caretaker. Because he's just kind of like lets you do whatever, but also cares about you and punches stuff for you. So like, I think it's more of a like Grunkle to nephew type deal, like the kids in the show.
Okay. Well,
but maybe it's
definitely a bit more than the kids in the show, you know?
I'll tell you, it's definitely, like, for now at the very least, it's very much, man, I like you, Grunkle Stan.
Yeah, and the way he keeps describing Danny is, like, very homoerotic.
That's true. Yeah. The tags are humor/friendship, but it definitely feels like a lot more than that. There's subtext here.
Yeah. Or maybe we're just Fujos that read into it.
Oh no, it's gotten to us already. We've been reading too much fan fiction. The other day I read a fan fiction for fun.
Oh no.
And it was bad.
No.
Yeah. We're going down. Anyway, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I gotta say, this is one of those fics that, the author's, like, trying to keep the characters, like, true to how they were in their show, and it's showing that it's really a hard thing to do.
Yeah, especially when you try and make a more dark setting.
Yeah.
Because both Danny Phantom and Gravity Falls are pretty light.
They're light settings, and especially in chapters 2 and 3, like, this guy is trying to get dark. Like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. In chapter
we talk
2...
about how in the second chapter he's like, yeah, and then I saw some Holocaust victims.
Yeah, so the idea here is that it's like the 1970s, and Danny Phantom got sent back in time by his parents by accident and lived through the Great Depression and fought in World War II and saw the Holocaust, like, which concentration camp? The one that starts with a B firsthand. And, like, now has PTSD, because that's the cool thing to do in fanfiction, I guess, is to give characters that don't have trauma or PTSD that.
Trauma or PTSD. Yeah. So all I could think reading that, right, was he gets sent back to the 40s, or he gets sent back to the 30s, right?
Yeah.
Or early 40s. But either way, he was morally obligated to do something, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
He
thinking
could have gone to Germany.
I went back and checked, because it made me think of there was a college humor video.
I saw that.
Yeah, the going back to the 90s would actually be like one.
Yeah.
About you go back to the 90s, you're morally obligated to stop 9/11. I'm like, yeah, Dave Phantom, you could literally do something. You could just, like, ghost kill Hitler.
You have ghost powers. You don't even need to buy a plane ticket to stop World War II. Like, it would be so easy. I assume that he has the ghost juice in his tank to fly over the Atlantic Ocean, but maybe he
Yeah, and
doesn't.
also, like, when he's fighting in the war, does he just, like, run around as a soldier? And he's like, I sure hope I don't get shot, because it'd be cheating to use my ghost powers to stop the Nazis.
No, he explains it as, he does use his ghost powers, and because of that, he doesn't have to kill anyone, and he can't get killed, so he just, like, knocks people out. He just flies around with his ghost powers and knocks people out, and then assumedly his platoon just comes over and pops a cap at everybody afterwards.
He's like, oh boy, guys, we can take all these prisoners of war. And they're like,
It's such
yeah,
a-
Daddy, sure.
Yes, POWs. Now go off screen for a second, Danny, please. And it storyboards to the next scene, and then everyone's dead. It just goes to show you that just war theory is pretty bullshit. If we just don't kill those guys, we're the good guys.
Wait, can we also talk about how either Stan or the author doesn't know how prisons work? Let me just go pay your bail.
Yeah.
Okay, so either this is like a prison that's mixing actual prisoners with detained people that haven't been convicted yet, or they just have no idea what's happening.
To be fair, most people really don't know the difference between prison and jail, and you can get bailed out of jail. You know,
like,
you can get
but
bailed
also,
out of your county holding cell.
There's did I didn't read that. Did they actually get thrown in jail, or did he just like sneak in? Right?
No, he just
that's
flew
what kind
into
of
jail with his ghost powers. Yeah.
Okay.
He saw Stan get arrested and then ghosted him, to the prison and just like showed up as his roommate.
Yeah, I feel like the guards would notice that too, unless he's disappearing every time they show up, and then
feel
Stan
like-
should notice that.
Wouldn't the guards be like, "Hey, who's that second prisoner in that room?"
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
or if he like hides, right? They'd be like, "Oh, Stan's got a 2-room, and he's only got one person. He's the only person there. Give him a roommate." So then there's 3 guys there.
Well, maybe the room's haunted. Maybe Danny makes him think that the room's haunted, and anyone else that they put there gets scared off because of how haunted it is.
That does make sense. The prison guards would care about their inmates.
Damn.
Stan would be like, "Oh, I'm being haunted," and they'd be like, "Oh, our bad. We didn't mean to do punitive measures against you. Here, let me compensate you for that."
Oh no, how'd you end up here in jail? Darn. But even beyond like all the like there's those simple funny X doesn't quite make sense type things. But also like you're taking this guy that is like lighthearted and funny and like does have some baggage but like uses comedy to get through it, and he's just saying like what the whole time. I don't know, it's hard to write for these characters that are so well done in their original shows, because it just like all the things that aren't dialogue, they're trying so hard to like write things consistently with how they were in the show, and
But they just kind of end up flat,
yeah
less interesting than they already were.
very true.
It's probably, I think it's also partly kind of the problem with crossover stuff in general, is you're just like, you like some characters' dynamics, so you want to put them together, and you can, if you're not as good as a writer as originally, you lose some of that dynamic, so putting them together, it doesn't really matter, they're just kind of flat.
Yeah, and then there's a ton of stuff just with like the context and the tones of the shows that they're already in that maybe they don't mesh in like you can't do the writing as well because they're not set up in a world for it.
Nothing will ever surpass Jimmy Timmy Power Hours.
Jimmy Timmy Power Hour is perfect because they were like the same show, but one is science and one is magic.
Besides, maybe was it Brawl's story mode?
Oh my god, Brawl story mode was incredible. I love that shit. It was so good. Oh man, I'll never forget.
It's a very good fanfic.
Remember when you go to the zoo with Lucas and shoot, I forget who the one who's with Lucas who isn't scared is. I don't think it's Meta Knight, but whatever. Pokemon Trainer's there, and it's just Lucas and Pokemon Trainer fighting through a zoo. And they kill Porky. Mother 3 has been solved. So, like, I'm also kind of confused about... Because there's tons of swindlers, right? There's tons of liars.
Yeah.
You know? I don't really get how you're building this world where... the idea is that Danny Phantom is, like, totally traumatized from this World War II incident. He's got PTSD. And he's spending a lot of time just, like, wandering around aimlessly, looking for some kind of purpose. And then sees Stan get arrested and is like, well, there it is. I found it. This is what I need. Like that. Yeah,
it does feel a bit main character syndrome.
Yeah, you know, and that's like
the main character. Gotta meet up with him.
And it's like that feels very main character syndrome. And it's also like the whole most of this chapter is like I like you because of like X. I don't know.
I'd assume it's probably right because. Or theoretically, it could be that he knows somehow that Stan's got like access to the books.
Well, because he doesn't though. In like chapter 3, okay. In chapter 3, Danny's like, you keep saying supernatural, and Stan says something along the lines of, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. So Danny doesn't know that he has the supernatural connection.
Okay.
And I guess maybe they're gonna go to like the end of chapter 3 is they're driving back to America. So maybe they go to Gravity Falls and do stuff there. I don't know. But also, I feel like this could be a very good crossover type deal if you just have Danny be like someone living in Gravity Falls, you know? I'm thinking,
it definitely seems like what you would go with.
Did you watch the Gravity Falls shorts between seasons 1 and 2?
I think so.
Okay,
if I did, it was probably back then. And I don't remember them.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, because there's one where Dipper goes into this store because there's a guy that only has a left side and he's always facing left, and he somehow gets around the side and it's a bunch of little creatures in a robot. So like, there could be something great and kind of short just like that where Danny lives in town and Dipper's like, "There's a ghost man in town. I gotta find him."
Oh, and I could just see right where Danny would like see. Or sorry, Dipper would see Danny Phantom and be like, "That's Danny Fenton," and everyone else would be like, "What do you mean? They're totally different." You know, because it's he's even worse than Superman, right? Because all it changes is hair color and eye color, and he goes by the same name except Fenton versus Phantom for last name.
That's great content. Is this when we eventually write fanfiction? Is this going to be it?
It'd be a good one.
It'd be a pretty good one. I don't know if it would work I don't know how well you could do putting the other way around of doing Gravity Falls characters in the Danny Phantom setting. But like there's an easy in there for Danny in the Falls setting.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the characters of Gravity Falls are kind of the town is a character, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Much more so than say Danny Phantom, where it's just kind of the world, but there are ghosts.
Well, like the important locations in Danny Phantom are like the layers of the bad guys, like their castles or whatever, in the Phantom Zone, and you can put those anywhere.
Yeah, because Phantom Zone is just any open space and then locations.
Like, for all we know, the Phantom Zone is where fucking Bill's from, and where the other Stan spent all that time.
The Phantom Zone is like a Mario game, right? Where there's like a hub world, and you go to a different level.
Yeah. But straight up though, Stanford could have been in the fucking ghost zone chilling with Vlad that whole time. Like,
I don't know, it's seeming like our fanfic's gonna be
I'm just saying that like it seems I feel like there is great crossover appeal here. These are two like lighthearted shows with great like big supernatural elements, and instead the author decides to have two like play up the scarredness and trauma of these two characters and try to have them connect to like heal themselves when that's just not the kind of story that the characters are set up for.
Yeah, it's also weird because like you could already take Danny Phantom is in another world as his cardness.
Yeah.
Like, why does he have to get added like he's in World War II?
Yeah, like there's a lot
Like,
going on with I'm
stuck.
time travel to the past and everyone I know isn't born yet.
Yeah, and I'm in this other world, and
I don't want to kill Hitler for some reason.
yeah.
Oh boy. My favorite parts of this fic are where the author is like describing things that happened in the show, pretty much just like of like Stan being kicked out of his house and like just like using words other than Stan's dialogue to describe that happening. I just thought was kind of cool because I love Gravity Falls very much, so it's like I'm seeing the content in a new way, but there's not a ton of that.
Definitely isn't. I feel like my favorite part is just kind of the bumbliness of it. Like in a not in a this was meant to be funny, but in a like, wow, it is pretty funny that they went there.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta bring up the part where Danny Phantom's saying like, I've never been arrested. Wait, no, scratch that. He paused and scrunched up his face and thought, does that time with the guys in white count? 'Cause the author wrote, I've never been arrested, and then thought, wait a second, has he? Hold on.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So you know what? Kudos to this author for being accurate. At the very least, you know they know these two worlds.
Lore accuracy is very important.
True. I don't know if I can recommend this, but it was fun. You know.
Yeah, it's short.
It's short. Yeah, that's the best
part. You
part.
could give the first chapter a try, but yeah, I kind of agree. Don't know I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty weird too, huh? That you're saying that this character is like a broken man, but then like you're describing how fucking cheery he is all the time. Danny Phantom.
But again, he's describing cheery like in a look sense.
That's
he's
fair.
Like he puts on a persona of being cheery, and also he's thin but muscular, and he has lovely locks of hair. It's like, why is this not just a gay fanfic?
It would do much better as a gay fanfic. I think. Yeah, I think that would
or
fill
if
a lot
it
of
is,
expectations.
get to the point.
Pretty much, yeah. But what was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, I feel like you could have saved a lot of adjectives describing Danny Phantom if you just said twink, you know?
Yeah.
Could have saved us some time.
Maybe this is just someone discovering, you know? No, it can't be. They have a furry profile pic.
Yeah,
they obviously know.
They know.
What was the other thing they doing?
Oh, yeah, the other thing I want, like, sometimes the author's trying to write funny things. Like, they're trying to do these Stan funny lines of, like, decided to bring back underground donkey fights. And there's a part in chapter 2 when they're saying, like, things that Stan was saying to try to not get arrested. Like, I was buying decorations for my dog's birthday party. And it's like, it feels like this author is not a comedian. And they're trying to work with these comedy characters. And whenever they try to write a joke, it's like a also random type thing.
That's not a polar bear, that's Danny Phantom.
How dare you? Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. It's just rough when you have these characters that have such great humor in the shows not have that. But we've talked about that already.
All right.
Got any final notes?
Guess that's about it for me on this.
I think I can say the same. We're wrapping up this beautiful little side quest between Danny and Stan.
All right. So I guess next week we've chosen our fanfic ahead of time so people can read it, and it's called In Love on a Server by Glorious Magic Death Spit.
Yeah, so watch out, because the Minecraft fanfiction you never knew you needed is coming to you.
Yeah, and it might be good, it might be bad. You'll find out next week.
See ya. No soap, radio.